What's going on, guys? Welcome. Give me a second. Let's just make sure everything goes well. If you can hear me, give me a quick shout out so I can at least hear that you're hearing me. Today we're talking about the 15 key performance indicator. Let me just show my face real quick. 1 second. All right, this is a very important lesson for you. I got about 15 different things I want to share with you. So if you already started in this game, these are the things that you need to keep an eye on. 15 sounds like an overkill, but trust me, at some point, as you continue to grow in the business, um, you will find that you need to start looking at this information. Okay. All right. So what's going on, guys? Hopefully my face is not too oil. All right, so let's get started. A couple of things I wanted to share with you. Let's just get going, okay? Today we're talking about the 15 key performance indicator. What's up, Derek? What's going on, Derek? Thanks for coming by. I promise today's lesson is a very important lesson. So if you're in the game of real estate, these are the numbers that over time you want to write it down right now. You may not be able to start measuring everything right now, but you start from somewhere. But at the back of your mind, you know that at some point you want to start measuring these numbers so you can manage your resources the best. Okay. That's very important. Okay. So this is going to help you measure your resources. You know, the game of entrepreneurship, as I always say, is about measuring resources, about making sure every dime goes as far as it needs to go. Every microsecond of your time has a return on its investment. Okay, because if it's worth your time, it better brings back some kind of returns, right? So that's what it's about. All right. So it's very important that we do this, because every now and then with some of my students that are already doing okay, I have to, I've had people do okay and then they disappeared because they didn't manage their resources properly. Yeah, even after closing a few deals, I think I've told you the story before. Even my own person, the person that actually mentored me back in 2005 with my first 5 deals, well, not the first one, but the next 4 deals after that, and a few years after that, it's nowhere to be found in the business because he mismanaged his resources. I mean, at some point he had up to $25,000 in monthly bills, and you get excited once you start doing well and you're very young, you're 20 something years old. You have this thing that you feel like you're invincible, right? None of us are invincible. No condition is permanent. So you have to learn how to manage resources. This is not the game of flipping houses is not it's not a child's play. So and the money will only stick with you if you learn how to take care of it. Okay, so that's why I wanted to share this lesson with you. 15 key performance indicator of flipping houses nationwide. If you miss any one of this, it can absolutely destroy your journey. Okay, so the first thing first is market size. Okay, you need market size. The simplest ways I can put that is how many buyers, how many sellers are in the game of selling and trading real estate, right? That's what it comes down to. And if you don't have a big enough market, it simply means there's not enough buyers or there are not enough sellers, and it just means you're just going to waste a lot of time. Okay, so you may say, well, there's not enough buyers, but it's just me. But you're wasting a lot of time, right? You're wasting a lot of time on BS. Okay, basically hoping that something's going to fall on your lap because you're the only one in the market. Well, if you're the only one in that market and there's no competition, you have a big problem. Okay, so you need a sizable market size. What is a sizable market size? Well, the best way you can tell is that there will be enough properties in that location that are priced between $100,000 and $500,000. Okay, so listen to what I just said clearly. there will be enough properties trading hands between 100 and $500,000. If all the properties in your market are basically $20,000 deals, $10,000 deals, it just makes it that much harder for you to have a healthy return on investment for your time, because this game, um, it's simple, but depending on where you're coming from, it's not. Okay, so you want to make sure that every time you close it, is $10,000 minimum. Okay, but you want to try to on the market size. All right. Pardon me if my internet is acting out. By the way, they're actually supposed to be stopping by to help with it. But hopefully everything is going well. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, number two, key performance indicator, like basically key performance indicator, some people call it a KPI. These are the numbers that you need to measure, that if these numbers fail, your business will fail. That's just what it is. Okay, number two is market competition. Okay, obviously you want, if everything else were equal, if all of the different 15 factors I'm sharing with you right now, if they were equal, right, you would want the competition to be low. Okay, you want the big market size, but comes with big market size is competition. Once people know that, oh, there's money to be made in this market, you will have competition. It's just a given, right? But you don't want to be too high. Okay, so how do we mitigate against too much competition? So if you're in a metropolitan, excuse my French, okay, if you're in a metropolitan area, right, like Atlanta, like California, like New York City, like things like that, that market, the competition there will swallow you, especially if you're brand new and if you don't know what you're doing yet. Okay. The way people win in that area is they already have a clientele base. They have people that call them all the time. They have people that refer business to them all the time. And that helps them stay afloat in that market. But if you don't have that and you're starting off fresh, you have all the forces against you. So that's not the right market to start in. And there's a reason why properties in New York City, Manhattan is like millions of dollars, right? There's a reason for that. Is because there's competition. Is because there's everybody wants to be a part of it, right? So that's why we call it metropolitan area. So even though it's nice, there's a lot of money, there's also lots of competition. So if everything else were equal, you want a good balance between market size and market competition. Now, today, when I started back in 2005, everyone and their moms and their pops are not wholesalers. Okay. Today, it's a little bit of a different ball game. Okay. How do you beat the competition and still be in a sizable market? You have to find a way to stand out. You have to deliver quality services, starting from when you start having conversations, starting from your first contact, your very first contact with a piece of data, with a person, with a human being who needs your help. That's, you can start standing out, and that's topic for another day. But this is a key performance indicator. If the competition is too high, you will get swallowed, especially if you don't know what you're doing. The third key performance indicator is your monthly marketing budget. Okay. If you come to this channel and excuse the internet, I think I'm still flowing. Hopefully, but I can see here my internet indicator is showing slow internet here. So pardon me if I have to do it again. I'll do it again. I'll just listen again. But let me just continue. Monthly marketing budget. Okay. If you're coming to this channel open to get some kind of $0 marketing budget, you're in the wrong place. Okay. And you have the wrong mindset. Okay. Go watch yesterday's video. I talked about, you can't really say return on investment if you're not investing something. And if you're investing time and your time is worth zero, meaning you don't have a job or anything like that, you're jobless, there's no return on investment. Okay. Because if you multiply zero by anything, it becomes zero. And if you divide anything by zero, it becomes invalid. Okay. All right. So let me use another monitor here to monitor, make sure that everything is going well. Let me use another monitor. Just want to make sure that we're still going well here. All right, good. All right, so I'm going to use another monitor because the internet is not the best where I'm at right now. All right, so Yeah, we're still looking good. All right. So monthly marketing budget, what should that be? It really depends on you personally. It depends on your personal income. But you want to make sure that you have at least 100 pieces of property that you've hand selected that you're going to reach out for the next 1 month. Okay, so you reach out to them. You don't reach out to them one time. Okay, just reaching out to them one time is not going to work. Okay, you want to be able to reach out to them multiple times, multiple touches. So even though we do high tech, we also do high touches, right? You want to make sure, because some people need to see you a few times. They need to see your information a few times. uh I prefer a minimum of 4 times. Okay, so if you do your marketing, your monthly marketing budget should adjust for you to be able to reach out at least 4 times to 100 pieces of properties, whoever their owners are, right? Remember, the third pillar is people, right? So without people, properties does not produce money. Okay, you need the people behind them, right? All right, good. So your monthly marketing budget must at least be a minimum that will allow you to reach out to 100 properties owner, 100 property owners at least 4 times. So 400 touches. Okay, for 100 contacts, 400 touches. 400 data pieces of data. I mean, property addresses, right? That fit certain criteria. Okay, and I'm not. That's beyond this topic right now, but they fit a certain criteria, right? Because if you just hit everybody and their moms and their pops, like every house in your neighborhood, uh, that there's a high chance they're not willing to sell at a discount. So you're wasting your time, right? So you need to hit people that have the highest chances of needing to sell as fast as humanly possible. Is that making sense? All right. So that's that. It looks like we're flowing a little bit better now. All right, so that's the monthly marketing budget. Is a big key performance indicator. If you're hitting too low, you're not going to hit anything, right? So you need to kind of hit very high so you can hit. People say you want to try to hit the star, so you can at least hit the moon, or vice versa. I don't know how to say that. You get the point, right? It's a numbers game. So the more you play, the higher the chances that you're going to win, right? So the fourth key performance indicator here, speaking of, is the data quality points. What do I mean by the DQP? What do I mean by that? Okay, so here inside of our own platform here, I teach the 11 points. All right. All right. So I do the 11 points. I teach the 11 points, and specifically what those 11 points are beyond the scope of this lesson. But just understand that they're basically motivation. They're basically motivation measurement of the prospect that you're trying to reach, right? So here's an example, right? The person, your neighbor, is not necessarily interested in selling the property right now. Okay, that's number one. Number two, they're not necessarily interested in selling at a steep discount, 50, 65, 45% of the what the property is worth right now. This extremely 99.999 chance they're not willing to sell at a discount, right? I'm talking about your neighbor, right? So how do you find the people that are actually more interested in selling right now, and this property is a piece of headache for them, and they need to sell, and they don't care what the price is, right? In fact, the value for them is when they sell as soon as possible, not as much as possible. It's not selling at the price that's as much as possible for them. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, whatever that is, right? Uh, so for each one of those criteria, right, we're talking about the data quality points. Okay, so I have 11 points that I share with my students. Okay, and sometimes there's a 12th and that's a 13th point. It depends on how big my budget is for that month. Depends on how tight I want that, how much quality I want in the list. Okay, so why do I do that? Okay, so for example, it costs me a certain amount of money, right, to reach a hundred pieces of properties, right? So if let's say it's $1 a piece, right, just for the sake of simplicity, so it cost me $100 to reach 100 properties, right? If the quality of that list is too low, meaning it's just random neighbors, anybody that owns a home, right? Because there's a significant decrement in the chances that they're willing to sell, I'm basically throwing money away. I'm not managing my resources. But if I have as much of those data quality points stacked, like for example, vacancy, non owner occupied, in pre foreclosure, faced bankruptcy recently, in divorce, if I stack enough of those things, there's increased chances that this person needs to get rid of a property. Okay. And that's what I mean by data quality points. So now my $100 will go a lot further and give me the best chance to catch a deal rather than the same $100 just reaching out and just throwing muds and hoping something sticks, right? Which is what a lot of people do. That's what people do when they drive for dollars. Just because a house looks weedy or it looks like abandoned doesn't mean somebody's looking to sell it. And you're wasting all of these resources. Especially if you have a job, that means your time is worth at least $20 an hour, and you're wasting all that time when you could just do that a lot easier, a lot faster, right? All right, so that's that. So the fourth key performance indicator is the quality of the data, the list that you're reaching out to. All right. The fifth key performance data is cost per unit data. How much is data costing you, right? Okay, how much is data costing you? The best source of data for especially new beginners is this one right here. Okay, let me show you. All right, so I always have to plug this because it's very important. Empirebigdata.com. Okay, that's the best. Okay, because you pay one flat fee and you have access to all the data that you need, and you're able to analyze the data. You're able to apply the data quality points, as I've just mentioned. You're able to manipulate and analyze the data to give you the best chance of catching a deal as fast as humanly possible. With respect to competition, with respect to market size, with respect to your monthly marketing budget, like I was saying earlier. Okay. So again, cost per unit data. If you're just paying for data every time, or every time you have to put gas in the car to go collect data, if you do that math, you start doing the math and you're like, driving for dollars does not make sense, right? You start thinking that way if you have this at the back of your mind. But if you don't, and you think this is some kind of child play, then you will struggle. And then you'll be like, oh, yeah, I've been trying to drive for dollars, but, nothing has happened so far. Well, if you're measuring all of this data the proper way from a computer, maybe you would see that something is happening already, and not wait until you close the deal before you know if something is happening. All right. So how much is each piece of data costing you? What's the source of this data in the first place? Can you see information about the data? Can you see if this data is in pre-foreclosure? Is it non-owner occupied? Is it vacant? Is it a residential property? Right. All those things you can see from a laptop without wasting so much resources. Listen, anytime you work against leverage and technology, you're wasting money. It's just the way it works. Okay. It's just the way it works. All right. So the cost per contact, right? So cost per contact now, for the next few of those, you're going to see me cover this right here. This right here. So it's data, contact, leads, contract, deals. Those are the 5 stages of flipping houses nationwide, virtual real estate, wholesaling, whatever you want to call it. As long as it's real estate investing, these are the 5 stages. And your input into the processes really, you're only involved in stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, right? Maybe stage 4. Okay. But deals is basically a byproduct of everything you do before that. Okay. So there's a lot of people chasing deals, but they don't even know what the stages are or what processes goes into these stages. All right. All right. So cost per contact is, when I say contact, I'm talking about all those touches, right? So you have multiple ways you can touch or contact your data, right? Or these people that own these properties, right? So you need to do the math. Okay, how much is that costing you? So how much are you spending all together, and how many contacts are you making? Like, how many people are you talking to, either by way of text messaging, or they reached out to you, or by emails that you send out to them? How many of those? The lower that, the better your chances that you're going to win big in this game. Okay. But if you're talking to one person a month and you spend about $2,000 already so far, and and that's consistent for the next 3 months, then something is wrong. You have to figure out what part of the stages are you, of the 5 stages, are you missing out on? So cost per contact, this is basically stage 2. You would want to know how many contacts are you making, right? Do the math manually. If you're just getting started, eventually you'll be able to build CRMs that will help you monitor a lot of these key performance indicators without stressing way too much. All right. So the key performance indicator number 7 is cost per touch. So contact is one individual. Touch is how many times you reach out to those people, plus how many channels are you reaching out through. Are you using text messages, emails, right? Actually actual postcards like in their mailbox, right? Like all of that stuff matters. All of that matters. All of that is what leads to deals. Without these things, there are no deals. Okay, at least there are no consistent deals. You may get lucky, but at least there are no consistent deals. Okay, so our key performance indicator number 8 is data to contact rate. What do I mean by that? Okay, data to contact rate. All right, so let's go look at the diagram again. We have to probably reference this from time to time. So from data to contact, how many people are you contacting out of all the data that you have? So you have 100 pieces of data, right, that you've identified as your best chances of catching a deal, right? How many contacts, okay, how many contacts was made with these people, one way or the other, even if it's multiple, you have to measure this number over time. And it's a percentage number. So basically it's going to be like if you made 3 contacts and you had 100 pieces of properties that you've reached out to, and you measure that over 1 month. Why 1 month? Because we pay our bills every month. Okay, don't measure after 2 weeks. Don't measure it after 1 day. Don't measure it after 11 days. That's you not respecting this business. It's every month. Okay, after the month you say, hey, how many pieces of data did I have? I had 100. How many contacts did I make? Many contacts, many person, a person actually spoke to you. Because remember, the third core pillar in smart real estate wholesaling, right, is people. So properties does not count as contacts. Okay, it has to be a person that was in control of the property and they called you, or you call them and you get to speak to them about the property. And that number divided by the number of data, number of pieces of data, multiplied by 100 is what we call data to contact rate. So that's the 8 key performance indicator right there. Okay. The next one is cost per lead. Okay, a lead is a person that has just identified, yes, I'm willing to sell. They raised up their hand and say, yes, I want to sell. And they're now looking to entertain an offer from you. And by the way, an offer made on the phone is a terrible idea. Okay, I can't tell you how many people reach out back to me because of the methods that I use in terms of creating a report as an offer. I create an offer report. It could be 1 page, something simple, but something you send in an email that explains why you're making that offer. It's better if you do that, especially if you're doing it in numbers, than to feel the heat to have to make an offer on the phone, right? If you make an offer on the phone, then you hear things like, oh no, you're crazy. Well, they have the right to tell you you're crazy because you're giving them a lowball offer, okay, and it's not justified unless that person is extremely motivated, which every now and then, rare occasions, you stumble into a person that doesn't care how much you pay for it. They just need to get rid of the property, right? But everybody that owns a real estate or controls a real estate know what it's worth in terms of just worth, right? Just the pride, right? So they're not just gonna want to give it away unless you justify, and you can justify that easily if you just tell them the truth. You reached out to them because they're showing up on multiple different places that they're in trouble. You don't have to say that to them. Don't say that to them because that's creepy. You're just there to be an investor and help them get rid of a property, and then build rapport and let them tell you what's wrong. They will tell you what's wrong if they're motivated, and they will do everything to hide what's wrong from you if they are not motivated. It's not your job to force them to be motivated. They're either motivated or not. Now, you can seduce them to be motivated just in case they're delusional. The way I do that is I send out a report. I talk to them, collect the information I need to collect, and say, hey, look out for an email from me over the next 24 business hours. And and then I'll give you an offer. And some people will see the offer, they feel disrespected, they ponder on it, they say, okay, I don't have money to repair this property, and they just make sure the offer has your contact information on it. They will reach out to you. All right. So when people, I digress a bit too long there, but cost per lead, people that say that now reach out back and say, yes, I'm willing to sell. That will be a lead. Okay. And then, now you have contact to leads conversion rate. So how many contacts are you turning to actual leads in any given month? That number will get better over time. Okay. That's why quitters will never win in this game. Like, quitters don't win. It's just obvious, right? Because it's a journey, and but it gets better and better, and you're gonna get rich for sure if you don't quit, and within 5 years or less, or a whole lot less. It just depends on who you are and where you're coming from. Okay. It's at least it's better than 40 years, right? All right. So the how many leads actually people that said, yes, I want to sell, that engaged in a conversation with you after you made contact with them? How many? So contacts doesn't mean they said, I want to. Contact means you actually spoke to the person. Okay. You actually exchanged a piece of text messages or emails. But a lead is a person that's entertained the idea of selling with you. That's a lead. Right. All right. So that's the 10th key performance indicator. All right. 11th key performance indicator is cost per contract. Okay. So you turn a lead into a contract, right? How many contracts? How much did you spend on marketing or your overhead of running the business, right? And how many contracts were you able to secure, right? If it's zero, that's costing you, like, if you have zero contracts, you cannot divide the zero by something, right? So basically, whatever your total cost is, you don't have a contract. So we will track ourselves backwards to leads. How many leads are you generating? How many contacts are you making? That's how you do it. That's how you measure this game. You don't measure it by how many testimonials you've given to a guru because you close a deal, right? That's not how you measure. You measure everything before that, and that's what creates the success that you may have seen on testimonials, especially if they're consistent. Okay, I'm not talking about one-time testimonial. They made $2,000 or $12,000, and you never saw them anywhere anymore. There are many people like that get lucky, right? And that's not what you want to emulate, because you're trying to build a whole business out of this. There are processes involved in that. Okay, so cost per contract is basically the 11th key performance indicator. So remember that we had another CPC here, which is cost per contact. Okay, so this number will generally be bigger than cost per contract, but it's normal. Okay, so the next here is leads to contract conversion rate. How many of your leads that have said yes actually signed a contract with you? Okay, you want this to be somewhere between 50 to 75%. Okay, if it's less than that, it just means you're counting the wrong type of leads. The quality of your leads are bad. Okay, that's just what that means. Okay, but if you are actually talking to people, remember, it depends on the quality of the data too, right? If this data are quality, all this numbers should be higher than normal. Okay, higher than the industry average. Okay, so for example, my data quality, if you're using 11 points, your numbers will be higher. Okay, plus you will engage less of your personal time with data that don't matter, right? A lot of time you find a lot of people talk to just everybody, just talk. That's why cold calling is a little bit weird, right? I don't teach cold calling because I don't like people calling me when I don't expect a call, right? So, and I go by that, okay? But not to say it doesn't work. I think every marketing strategy works. I think it's about which one can give you the best freedom. And text messages is that right now. Text messaging, postcards, as long as you're not blasting postcards to everyone and their mama, you got to make sure you have quality data, because you will waste money if you don't have quality data. All right, so let's go to the 13th, cost per deal, right? So when you close a deal, how much have you spent so far in that month? Then you also want to measure so far in your journey, and then eventually measuring so far in that year. These are key performance indicators that you want to know so that you can see where you may need some improvements. Because the more money you keep, the better. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. And that's life principles. It's not even just business. It's life principles about the quality of your lifestyle. It's about the quality of the processes, the data. It's about quality. But quality, you can't figure out quality if you don't run enough samples, enough quantity of samples of data through that system. So don't come at me with, hey, can I start with $20? No, you should find a job. Okay. If you have $100, if you have $200, $300, you can get started in this business. But anything less than $100 per month, you're basically hoping to be hopeful and get lucky. Okay. And I don't teach that, unfortunately, because it's not science. Okay. Now, can you get lucky? Yes, of course you can get lucky, right? 14th, contract to deals conversion rate. Contract to deals conversion rate. How many of your contracts are turning to deals? This is basically disposition. This is the disposition end of the game, and is the fifth stage. And if you don't have enough network, if you don't have a quality network in terms of helping you dispose of the deals, or if you're writing contracts that are bad, if you're writing very bad deals. So, for example, if your property is worth $100,000 and you're locking up a contract at $85,000, you're going to have a very low CTD rate. Okay, you're going to have a very low conversion rate from contract. So writing contract, you see somebody say, "Oh, I got my second contract yesterday. I got my third contract yesterday." It doesn't mean anything, because not all contracts convert to money. Okay, deals fall through for various other reasons, but when it's falling through because you wrote a bad deal, then you probably need this fifth indicator right here. The fifth key performance indicator is your education, mentorship access. Okay. And yes, I am selling, and that's because I know it works. Okay. So if you're not plugged in on a good program step by step, where you have access to mentorship, where you have access step by step how the things works, and be able to set smart goals. That means specific, measurable, okay, attainable, reachable, I think, something like that. Trackable. More importantly, you have to be able to track your success. You have to be able to track your activities. If you can't do that, you're wasting energy, you're wasting resources, and it's no wonder why you will just struggle and not know where you're struggling. So you need to be able to troubleshoot. If there are issues as you're going through the journey, you cannot troubleshoot if you're not tracking the process. Okay. If you're not tracking your processes and your progress before you hit a deal, you're going to struggle. So the next key performance indicator is not just when you're getting started, by the way. Even you get to a certain level, that being a part of a certain mastermind is a big part of your success, because your network determines your net worth. All right. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, I got about another 20 seconds before I shut this session down. I'll be back here tomorrow at that internet was a struggle. It looks like it's live though. And I'm missing one thumbs up. So if you help me put that thumbs up, if you get any value from this early from today, you can always watch the rebroadcast, of course. But subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the page and all the whole 9 yard. Right, so we can tell YouTube that I'm trying to do my best. Okay. Any questions? I got about 10 more seconds. Okay. But if you really want to get started and you want to follow a process and you want to be held accountable for every process, because consistency and commitment is hard as hell. If you're a human being, it's very hard to stay consistent and be committed. Okay. But I've put together a system to help you do that, to reverse engineer consistent and commitment. That's what the 11 days challenge is about. So 11 days from now, you should be able to say, you know what, I know how this game works. And then you can even go back and go through everything again, plus have access to ongoing support. All right. So that's all I have for you on this episode. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. Brand new here, you can go download this for free at smartrealestatewholesaling.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com. And if you go there right now, I also have a second book, Real Estate Money Secrets. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.